tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything shall roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the
These greetings in every language, so I don't have to repeat all of them. What's going on, family? What's good? Paul, Reem, how y'all doing today?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Morning, cuz. Let me send this out a little bit more. Let's see if we can get some
Yoko nephews is going on.
Yoko Chintamo. What's good? What's going on with you? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, good. Shit, let me send this link out to a few people. Let's try to get some more in here. If y'all can do the same, drop that link on a couple people, or Paul, share that for me too. We get a few more people in here before we get started. Hold on. They putting up this fence that get a new fence installed. So you might hear that in the background. Let me share this. Who did I? All right, let me share this link one more time, and then I'll basically set the base. Let's see. Hmm, Try to get this out too. Hold on. Couple more. Let me send this out.
Iyoko nephews, what's going
Please
on
talk to
this
me.
morning?
Everything. Just trying to get this started so I can get on this road. Um,
Y'all can hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. You ain't hear me? I don't know what's
You can
going
hear me?
on with your mic. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Talk to me. You have something to say?
No, I'm just waiting for you to bring everything on in. You know what I'm saying? As usual.
Hello, let's see. So, yeah, so everybody that joined and will join, thank you for tuning in. Y'all know I always lay the foundation. So this video will be about unity and migrations. Because often, and from this place I have to, but I usually speak on it from a point of the battles. Today I want to speak on how migrations and greetings unto peace and what's going on, because I want to speak on how these migrations didn't only to wars, but they often led to other forms of unity and community, right? Um, Whether they were physical or spiritual relationships. Um, and many of these migrations, in a way, made culture.
You going out, cuz. I know what's going on, but I can't hear you no more.
Me out. So, am I good? Mic check, mic
You
check. Can I
back.
get a one? And okay, I'm back. Say less, cuz bet. So, where were we? So basically, what I'm explaining is, so I'll give an example, right? I'll give a handful of examples. So when you look at cultures like what people call the Gwale, right, or the Wali culture, is at certain points you begin to see changes in the ceramics, changes in agriculture, changes in food ways, which is how we can pinpoint the migrations of other peoples into the coast. And we can see the same thing with the coastal people going into the interior, or the Piedmont people going further into the interior, right? These migrations, though we spoke about war, I'll give you great a great migration which created a civilization um based off of, we'll use the word spirituality for lack of better words. So when you have different Mesoamerican people coming across the Mississippi, or coming up through Florida or across or around the Gulf, what this created in the South is what Europeans term as the Mississippi era, or the Mississippi culture. So though there were wars, it wasn't all war. Now, the thing about the Mississippian era peace, what's going on, sis? The thing about the Mississippian era is that it involved so many different groups of people that you can't pinpoint the origin. And that's the beauty of the language that the people spoke at that time, which was called Yama. When you see so-called Mayan relics, that deals with the Yama people. Go ahead. I know you got your mic open. Drop something.
Right,
So
right.
often,
Like you
talk
were
to me.
saying, like you were saying, that is actually dealing with the Yama people. And actually, you can see the word Yama inside of Maya when you change the words around. Most people didn't know that through Florida to actually come amongst our family members dealing with the Yuba'a.
Right. And what I'm getting to is oftentimes, um, more times than not, what's being read and placed online has not been placed out by the people that actually lived it or come from those who descend from it. So they're not able to tell the beauty of it, right? When you have these migrations, not everyone was enemies. So you have certain sciences that were shared amongst the people, which in turn made their buildings or their houses slightly better, or it changed their fields, right? Or their you see the changes in the language, you can see the changes in the ball game. Now, during these times, or during this time, they created a society in which they could protect their sacreds, or what you all call secret. But this is sacred information that isn't for everybody. And they had a priesthood. So with them having a priesthood, when they which they came in with, they gave that spiritual system to other people that were in the east or east side of the Mississippi. So the Yuchi, who descend from the same ancestors as the Yama, also received or was helping push this ceremony on other indigenous people. Excuse me. So the Yama and the Yuchi are the priests, and they gave green corn to the Shawnee, and they gave green corn to their Lenape friends, and they gave green corn to the ceremony, which the whole West part, which the majority of the West accepted green corn. And if you study, you would know in the Southeast, it's that the Appalachians were the only true Mississippians. And that's because they had a closer connection to um, to those people that came up through the Gulf, as opposed to those who were on the coast and didn't have that connection with those on the Gulf. So what am I saying? Here's another way. When you look at the Appalachian language, they tell you that the Appalachians were originally their own people, but their language is now similar to Kashadi. But if you understand that, right, you understand that's a different branch of the Kusa or the Ani Kusa. So there you start to see, okay, these people came from Mexico and settled amongst this band of Appalachians. And now their languages have, in certain ways, have become mutually intelligible. Or they have adopted or picked up different words. And now they practice the same ceremony, which technically made them one people in the eyes of, right? So again, unity wasn't always, or excuse me, migration didn't. Here are other examples. When the Lenape and the Iba'a had war, um, and another time, right, when the gods had to leave, um, there was a people or the children or the people of the corn, Pa, you know, right? You taught me, and I end up finding it and like, holy shit, this is what this means. So the children of the corn left their place, and when they came to the on, so they were able to bring their crops, their maize, beans, and squash, and able to cultivate in these fields in order to stop the famine that had happened. This is science, but this shows that there's harmony in these migrations. Now, the unity part is this: you have different groups of people who are not culturally homogenous that understood they could come together to bet for the purpose of not just making themselves better, but better in the or better in their next generation. In this is where, but the thing is, right, within that is when unifying, there's the union. And that singular name to the union is usually what tends to dissipate the history of spirituality. Was right.
You going in and out, guys. You going in and out.
Plan. All right.
You going in and out.
Let's see. Let's see. Huh. I might have to step out again.
Yeah, you clear now. Wherever you at, wherever you standing at right now, that's you perfect.
Oh no, I'm on the patio chilling. You know that
Right.
fucking Wi-Fi get iffy out here. But
Yeah, wherever you at on the patio, cuz that's the perfect spot. I mean, you clear as day right now.
all right, say less. Just let me know. And then if
All right, I
anything,
got
I
you.
just step out.
I
But
got you.
said that to say, for instance, you have the Muskogee coming in, and they had a plan, and their plan was to make sure their people were straight. So while they're going across these different lands and may be fighting and conquering different groups of people, there were groups of people that said, "Fuck it, we like they plan." They plan is we not just gonna feed the family, we gonna feed the whole town. But if you ain't rocking with us, we gonna roll over your ass. And it wasn't just Moose Squad people. The Muskogee Confederacy alone could have freed everybody had the fathers of the main band not been European, if that makes sense. So you have you have indigenous groups like the Muswa, but then you also now have Africans joining. You have Negroes who had no African blood, who were called Negroes, but really were indigenous. You have Scottish, you have white people, real Scots that were on the plantation with these indigenous people and these handful of Africans who joined the Muskogee Confederation. This was a fight for liberation. So while we may speak on migration in order to set people where they really should be, because we know how people like to overlook migration in order to place themselves in other people's shit. But when you sit back and you say, you know what, we're going to look at it from a unity standpoint. Once we get rid of that, you start to see all the different confederacies or unions that were set up at the time of contact or colonialism, colonial contact, French, Spanish, Dutch, whatever, Portuguese, whatever. So all of those different confederacies where people beginning to harmonize. This is why Europeans were confused when they felt like, damn, everybody's speaking the same language, but just a different dialect of it, and it's one language. The reason they were confused is because they didn't know the spiritual side of it. They didn't understand the language being spoken was a trade language, a language that was used to do business while people had their own. So again, these migrations brought great things. You have simple pottery that turns into intricate designs or complex designs, right? It's no longer uh just squares and stars, and you actually have 720-degree symbols, right? You actually have things that appear, or if light hits it a certain way, these symbols appear to not only form animals and humans, but they're actual shapes for travels, different journeys, and we're talking about from the brain. It's a lot when it comes to this. You may see different tablets. You may say, well, damn, we found the Mayan language in Florida, not understanding they migrated there amongst the people and they began to create their own culture. So migration isn't all bad. Everybody moved. Everybody moved. So I just want to clear it up. And I want to show there are other places where you can see that, hey, migration and unity brought the people together for better cause. I give another example. The Iba'a and the Yama, or the Tama, they had a close relationship. And what I mean by a close relationship is the Iba'a understood that these people had something that we could benefit off of. The Yama said, hey, these people have something that we can benefit off of. Eventually, they clashed in the 1500s, but in the 1600s, when the Yama needed assistance or needed help, they ran to the coast and began to settle in lands that weren't originally there. But what that did was put them in a position to win. And not only that, they began to settle, began to return back to their lands, finding them to be settled or to be inhabited by new people. Though they created a legal separation and they knew the legal separation between the two tribally, they were of one mind when it came to war. They may not have been of one mind when it came to enslavement, and that's for another day. But they were able to put their differences aside in order to fight a common enemy. So yes, I may speak on the Yama migrating into the land, but had they not migrated into the land, there are many people who would not exist today. Paul, talk to me. Reed, y'all got something to add on to it or what? Talk to me. I'm strolling right now.
Rock out.
Yeah, like you said, nephew, um, like you said that if it wasn't for that combination, you know, people would not have existed. And when you mean by that, that there was actually a famine and the way how things was happening when the Europeans came and changed the diet of the Yuba'a, you know, we thought we was helping by giving y'all corn, but not knowing that the corn actually changed your molecular structure of your bodies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, because we like, hey, if we can eat corn, you probably can eat corn too. You know what I'm saying? Or the meat, you know.
Right.
But we found out that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know, you go to your buy out there, so them little short, fine, stack Yama women. Oh, that's how you get sick. Because you know, that's how they say the song. She eat her cornbread. You know, you eat your corn, you get thick. You know, so yeah, that's how that happened.
Yeah, facts though. Actual facts.
That's funny how they actually put in the song. She eat her cornbread, meaning she thick. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yep.
That's why they say, baby, you gotta eat you some cornbread and some beans. You know, put some weight on you, baby. You kind of skinny.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then
indeed.
and the
Go
the
ahead, Nephew.
thing though, all right, the thing, hold on, Reem, you want to touch on something before I continue?
No, go ahead, cuz. I listening.
All right, for sure. So, and this is universal, right? This isn't just dealing with the Americans. Uh, Bitches move. It's a part of life. Um, my thing though is understanding the story and respecting it, right? Um, Me moving to fucking Tennessee, um, doesn't mean that I'm from Tennessee, right? But what we have to understand, the ancient world is that's how they saw it too. Though they may have had a new town, their mother town still was the same. That's what really connected the Southeast. It's as these towns are branching off or adding on and going on, nobody is seeing that they all starting to connect back to a big ass union. Remember during the Yamasee War, the people say there were fires lit from Charleston to Louisiana and from Alabama to Ohio. That's a big ass comparison. And not all of those people who were defending the Southeast at that time or defending the East at that time were originally from the East, and they didn't have to be. They were of one mind. Now, let's get to the unity part. Peace. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Thank y'all for tuning in. Please leave a like on this video and share with one person that you feel like may need this good information. Now, um, how did these things take place? This is something I know many people like to ask. Well, shit. How were these confederacies or these things formed? In the ancient world, or what we call the ancient world, right? Before contact, as they would like to say. Um, what you see at contact, a lot of that is usually new. But you're seeing the formation of different unions at the time that the Iba'a began to form. So different families would unify with other families, and that would be their union, right? They would have their own land and they would have their own system, their own things going. That's how it was. Today, is this possible? It's more than possible to unify with people um, for the right causes, right? Even though that may not be your original tribe. The thing is, you would have to be comfortable and or be okay with knowing that though you are a part of, let's say your people are voluptuous, right? Or Okja, right? Or Okchai. And you say, well, I'm gonna join the Yamasi. What you must understand is you will be Yamasi going forward. So saying, no, I'm this. No, you're that. That's where unity comes in at, especially today, is all of these tribes and confederacies are nothing but families coming together to create political unity. Rahubat, greetings, peace, what's good, family? And yes, all is well, divine love, much love, and thank you for tapping in. See, if my family and 8 other families come together to create a union in the ancient world, and let's say that union was called Iba'a, and that union now grew to have over 800, 900 quote unquote family towns because people think they know, but they're reading it from a European's perspective. They don't understand how it was. Families had their own town. This is why there were so many towns, and people had to leave their town to go find somebody, as opposed to everyone living in the same town. So if we say now we're going to unify all of these towns and we're going to come together, this is our tribal nation. We already had clans. This is our tribal nation. This is where we're going forward. If you could connect yourself to one of those confederacies, which many of us do, that's your tribal family. If you're a Muskogee, be Muskogee, because that union was literally created to feed people. It was created to make sure people ate. If you're Yuchi, Catawba, be that. Because in those unity stories, you start to see how different people came together to create their own societies. Facts. Facts. So today, if you do that, again, that's not your ancient family. And everything before that would have to be done away with. That was the amnesia a lot of people would go through in the ancient world. Because you can go to war as Deer Clan and get captured, and then the women don't want to kill you or get rid of you, excuse me. They add you to their family, and now you are Raccoon Clan. But they seen that as a form of unity. So there's different.
You going out again.
But yeah, LOL. But yeah, so that's basically what that's how. But there are always different forms of unity. If the background sheet, let me matter of fact, because I'm supposed to be in the so my leave while I'm teaching. So let's see. Let's say Cherokee food for the Cherokee group. Eh, yeah, similar, right? But the family made sure their family ate. When you deal with the Chesapeake. When it came to, like I say, when it came to the newer confederacies, because with the Muskogee, right, those groups were being done wrong at the hands of traders. So not only were they losing at the deerskin trade, shit, they was losing the deer meat. So they were starving. They were running, they were fucking themselves up. They were already fucking themselves up. So a lot, like I said, a lot of these confederacies were put together with unity on the brain. What can we do to make sure we can protect our women? What can we do to make sure we protect our babies? Migration isn't always a bad thing. It isn't always a good thing. But again, we speak on it just to put things in their proper place. Now, some may say, well, when you're doing that, you're removing us because we were here. And it's like, well, we can't talk about the past without walking it back. So, of course, when you talk about me, once you get before I was born, I have no story. The story you would have to go off on is my predecessors. This is the same thing that I'm talking about with the migrations. Yes, I can talk about the 1800s when we all were going through it. Yes, I can talk about the 1700s. We all were going through it. All the way down to the 1500s. We were going through it. They were putting us all through the same thing. You want me to focus on that and forget the fact that there was a stronghold before you even got over. So you also put us through it. So we're to ignore that and focus on the back half. And when we focus on the back half, and you haven't acknowledged the fact that what we've been saying is fact, how do we trust you and you screwed us before them? That's why the conflict and the migration. But of course, I can always point out the unity within migration, just like I did in the book, The Green Fire, Volume 2, that I wrote. If you don't have that book, please grab it on Amazon. My laptop dead. I'm inside the man cave now. The laptop dead, so I can't pull it up digitally. Um, but there's chapters in here. What chapter? I think it's if I'm not mistaken, it might be that Mississippian chapter. But I definitely explained that the era like different groups who we call Arawak or Arawak, right? Different. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. Give me two. I'm in class. What's going on? Oh, I'm with you because you go get the yeah. You see it in your face. But yeah, so um, let me do this. Yeah, so now I gotta go cut my own grass after I thought it was gonna be done. Um, Crazy, crazy. But said that to say, you had Kolamoki, for example. If you go to Kolamoki, you'll see that the Wali were there. You will see that the Yamasi were there. You will see the people they call Appalachi, which are a group of people already named, were there. Some Mayans were even there. Some Aztec were there. There were different groups of people that existed at the same time that came together to make these places and make these different cultures what they were at the time of contact. So when you study these things and you say, well, I'm Yamasi, look, it say Yamasi right here on this map. There was a migration that created the Yamasi. When you say I'm Muskogee, there's a migration that created that. Remember, most of the things that you're even studying is from the point of somebody else's perspective when they pulled up. So it says different groups together with one mind and one goal to feed everybody and make sure. Right. That's what the confederacies and the unions were. However, many of these confederacies and unions became military groups. Like feeding the family was out the window. They would just focus on other shit. But again, migration isn't bad. Don't think that somebody's saying, okay, well, shit, they weren't here until this time. That's the fact of the matter. But now at that point, you can begin to say, well, this is what we shared between the culture. This is how we lived and loved amongst each other. And if there was if there was another eventual separation, this is why we separated, and this is how we avoid the next separation, or this is how we avoid the politics that caused us to split during the colonial era when we actually unified for that reason. You get what I'm saying? So just take that into account. Is yeah, everybody migrate, but migrations make things great. It said in there, migrations low key make things great because here in the southeast, yeah, we had mounds, but our mounds weren't as large as those that were in other places. The land is different. The material used to build is completely different. So when you're doing these things and you're studying these cultures, you have to actually study these cultures. Oh, well, I'm a mound builder. I'm an original Indian. I'm a mound builder. What are you? I'm Algonquin. Well, you know the Algonquins actually killed off a lot of them original mound builders. No, 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 you're lying. The Algonquins, no, them people over there are Siberians. We not Siberians. No, you did come from Siberia. You just a nigga that came from Siberia. But if you don't study the story for real, you'll never know. I'm a mound builder, and my people from Georgia, and we built Cahokia. Not understanding, Cahokia literally resembles a mound and a truncated pyramid, which are older than it and created by a culture that came from Mesoamerica. So if you don't know about, well, it's built on top of an older structure. Those people built it on top of an older structure. But said that to say, um, when you study these migrations and you see your people coming into the land, that's okay. Just stop hopping in my DM saying, "Oh, are you saying my people don't belong?" That's not what's being said. What's being said is before you start to tell people who they are, remember where the fuck you came from. And then once you remember where you came from, get off the bullshit and then begin to link with those who are like-minded. And you begin to liberate people through stories of migration. You explain to them how people are going through a famine, and instead of stepping on those people as they could have, there were people that gave them something that fed them for generations. Or people who lost everything in their homeland, and somebody said, you know what? Y'all can live here. We'll go back to our ancestral land where y'all stay here. And y'all can have everything here. We'll go back to the coast. Y'all enjoy it. Or what about when the Europeans were actually taking over certain islands and Wale and Orista, as the Europeans called them, stopped they beef to go fight the common enemy. They were having a civil war and then said, wait, who the fuck is that? Let's go get on them instead. So talking about migration is just a part of furthering the education. But you have to know these things. If you say, well, my grandmother's Creek, she's Muskogee Creek, understand the Creek are not originally from the Southeast. So while your grandma may have been born in Georgia in the 1800s, or may have been born in Georgia in the 1700s, even the 16 and 1500s, her people are not originally from that land. And it's okay. But if you understand the migration story, there will be no tension in someone, or there will be no reason for you to get upset when someone says, hey, the original people of the land we call Georgia today are the original people in South Carolina are. See, we get a lot of heat by teaching these things, and some say, well, it should only be taught amongst the families. But how can we only talk about this amongst the families when the families don't talk about it amongst themselves? Because if they did, the tribes and the confederacies would all understand that there were a people who allowed some of them in and who went to war with some who invaded. But if you tell that story, what you do is you cut off different people because they say, well, damn, since I wasn't there at that time, then I got to be the enemy now. Or since he's saying I wasn't there at that time, he's making me the enemy. No, we're putting everything in proper place. Because if you say, well, I want my ancestral land back, and your grandma is Mayan, right? Or if you say, I want my ancestral land back, but you're claiming to be Aztec, why the fuck are you worried about Georgia? This is what I mean. See, when those people left and they chose to unify, they left certain things alone. Not too many people willing to do that. Somebody want to say, I'm Kusa, or my people are from Kusa, and yeah, we Muskogee, but since some Kusa moved amongst some Iba'a and they became named as the Kusabo, then that means that I'm Iba'a, so I must be Wale too. It's fucking insane. That's why I respect the migration and I focus on the migration because that tells us where people unify and separate. Talk to me.
Nephew, you know, old boy, um, Big Chief, I call him Big Chief, what that is, the wall bonded from Taiwan. He said he could sabo now.
Wait, you talking about no.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay.
Mm, mm, mm.
Mm,
God damn. God damn.
mm, mm.
God damn. Let me read this from the book real quick. This the Green Fire. This is chapter 3. Let's see, chapter 3, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, chapter 2, the Swift Creek culture and its role in southeastern development. Let's see. All right, so the origins of the Swift Creek culture. All right, so it says the decline of the Wally era coincided with migrations of various people into the southeastern United States, including ancestors of the Tanasi, Peruvians, Yama, and Arawak. These migrations brought new ideas, technologies, and cultural influences reshaping the region. While Wally is celebrated for its finely crafted pottery and egalitarian social structure, Swift Creek is initiated, a leap forward in artistic expression, social hierarchy, and ceremonial practices. Let's see. So I'll go skip over here. So it says during this period, copper pots began to appear in the southeast, many originating from the Ohio Valley. The ceramic styles of the Shawanoki also began to incorporate designs with influences from other cultures, including Mayan Montaus. Pottery from Florida and Georgia frequently featured unifying symbols such as the thunderbird, water panther, and Irish elk, beings associated with deep spiritual connection. Now, these pots were often painted in vibrant reds, yellow, greens, and blues, enhancing their beauty and emphasizing the significance of their design. Now, even in the book that I've written, I acknowledge the fact that people have come from as far as South America and contributed to the Shawanoki culture, excuse me, or what Europeans call the Swift Creek culture. Migration. People have been migrating across this planet for hundreds of thousands of years. So if we look at these migrations, or if you ignore the migrations and focus on the colonial era of things being set up, what you're going to do is you're going to miss things that are very valuable. You're going to forget that people had their own story. You're going to start to overstep boundaries. You're going to start putting yourself in the position of people that you have no connection to simply because you don't know your family's migration story. Learn it. What makes you Indian? What makes you your tribe? Oh, I'm Cherokee. What makes you Cherokee? Because it's not your blood. Everybody who Cherokee don't have the same blood. If they did, they'd have been inbred. What makes you Muskogee? Because Muskogee is a Shawnee word. The Shawnee didn't even call themselves Shawnee. So this is what I'm saying. When you have to actually talk about your culture from your culture's perspective, you're not even going to be able to use anybody else's language. You got to use your own. Who is this come? Oh, that's Pop. You have to use your own. And you have to know your story. If you don't know your story, who the fuck is going to teach it to you? If your elders isn't teaching it to you, you can't come to me for me to tell you who you are. I don't know who you are. We don't have the same bloodline. You have to be strong in this because somebody can easily say, well, nah, that's not you. You lying about your blood. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not lying. Okay, so such and such and such and such. Where are your elders? Oh, I don't talk to my family like that. We don't really get along. So you a lone Indian. Yeah. So how can we confirm your story outside of you simply telling us the story? That any other family members that agree with this story, do they? Do they not? Where did grandma come from? What was grandma's job? What was grandpa's job? Uh, how did that influence the family? What did they teach about the family story? These are things that you need to hold on dear. You need to hold on to these because a lot of people have been around their family 20, 30, 40, 50 years and can't tell you anything about the family. They can tell you about their life. They can tell you about experiences they may have with people in the family. But if you ask them, hey, you know what, man? What's your mother's grandmother? What are the names of both of your mother's grandmothers? Or what's grandma? What can we name her siblings? Or where did grandma come from? Where did she move from? When did she move? Why did she move? How did she travel from Georgia to such and such to such and such to such and such to such and such in the 1800s, right? Grandma from St. Helena, but all of a sudden, grandma pop up in fucking Florida. Nobody's asking these questions because nobody really give a fuck. If they gave a fuck, they would have the answer, and they would have added that to their migration story. It would have been a part of it. But instead of focusing on that, people don't care. Saying that I'm Indian is enough. It's justice. Because shit, grandma said I'm an Indian, so I'm an Indian. It goes further than that. How did grandma family come to the Confederate? What did grandma family do to be a part of the Confederate? What was their role in the Confederate? Are you attempting to learn the language? Because it's gonna be tough being that you haven't spoken in so long, or it may not even resonate with your DNA. But all of this comes through migration. Learning the fuck where your family started will mean
That's very
will do so
important.
much for you. Say what,
That's
Paul?
very important. I say that's very important, and it's very biblical that you know that, because people, like you say, people them claiming land that's not there. Even them talk about, oh, I want my ancestral land back. Well, is that really your ancestral land? That's why you got to know the migration, like you said.
Yep.
Just like when the Muskogee, just like the Georgia news said, oh, the Muskogee coming back to their ancient homeland. Like, no, the Muskogee was not there. So how that's their ancient homeland? You know?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
See,
you.
when you know the story, you know where to put it in so people get mad because putting it in proper perspective. You can't be mad because people
Oh,
putting it in proper perspective.
right. Hold on, Paul. For the I like chilling outside, man. Uh, on that patio, the wind be feeling good, but my Wi-Fi be messing up. Let me get back in the man cave. Give me 2 seconds. All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a reset. and that's what we gonna focus on. So I'm gonna drop the music real quick that way I can set this up, and then we'll be right back. So just 2 minutes, just 2 minutes.
Sun comes up in the eastern sky, old wind blows by and by. Every day's just as wise, every day's just as. Sun comes up in the eastern sky, old wind blows by and by. Every day's just as wise, every day's just as.
Wise, 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 wise. Sun goes down in the western sky, the moon will rise with the shining eyes. Every night's just as wise, every night's just as wise. Sun goes down in the western sky, the moon will rise with the shining eyes. Every night's just as wise, every night's just as wise, 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 and life continues rolling with love forever flowing on to creation's endless knowing. Through all of time, through all of time.
Sun comes up in the eastern sky, old wind blows by and by. Every day's just as wise, every day's just as wise. Sun goes down in the western sky, the moon will rise with a shining.
All right. I'm back. I'm back. We good? Can I get a mic check?
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Microphone checker. Now I got that CD.
All right, so we back. We good. What's good, Reese? What the players, family? Let me see. Let me get in here real quick. This shit. The blueberry. So yeah, talk to me, Paul. You made a statement. I think we could lead off on that when you were speaking on about people claiming things and not originally being there. So how important is it from your perspective? 'Cause I did a lot of fucking talking about migrations and knowing your story. Give me a build on that because I want to hear from you. I know they would want to hear from you and talk to me.
Yeah, like I was saying before the reset, for the news to be dealing with journalism, they didn't do their due diligence of actually investigating what they was about to propagate. You know what I'm saying? To be a journalist, you're supposed to do investigation before you put out the news. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we know that the news can be faulty sometimes. And this is why we came and said, like, hold on, bro, y'all wasn't at this site, you know what I'm saying? And you actually have state rangers that actually know this. So if the state rangers know this, why the media don't know this? And then another thing is why the state ranger didn't get on there and be like, no, the Muskogee and them wasn't here. If y'all ever came to the museum before it closed, we actually showed that they actually migrated from the west because there wasn't even much here at the time where these mounds was being built. You know what I'm saying? And this is why when they go asking all these tribes, well, who was the mound builders, and they say we don't know. Y'all know, y'all just don't want to say who it was because when y'all came in, you got your ass whipped. You know what I'm saying? So that's a part of the history that they choose to keep hitting. But they speak about it around the fire. Because at every ceremony they talk about the wars because that's a part of the culture and the history. So they can't say they never came and fought against the Yuba'a or whoever was there in the east when they came from the west, because
Facts.
just like you had got the book, which we bust up the Lenape information dealing with the Walla Uma, and then you just got the information from the Iroquois, and the Iroquois and they said, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Lenape and them came over here to the west when we was here. You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
the other people was here as well. So yeah. So now you have all the pieces of the puzzle coming together now. So they can't
Yep.
lie about it. They just need to come out and tell the truth. Yes, we migrated from Mexico. You ain't had no choice but to say you came from Mexico because your creation story says it. And just like you
Facts.
said, the Muskogee elder said it. You know what I'm saying? And you
Yeah,
got
it's got on
the way,
video.
yeah, it's on video. So you gonna call your own elder a lie? I like to see that happen. Oh, I like to see that happen.
And that, but remember, one of the first people to say that they came from Mexico was another Muskogee chief, Cherokee Leachy.
Right,
Cherokee Killer was from, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was from one of the lead towns, probably Coweta. But
right,
he was one of them that was like, yeah, bro, we came from the West.
right.
And he wrote it for the English in hieroglyphs. Uh-oh.
And that's the same hieroglyphs that they got down there in Mexico in the temples.
Uh-oh. So he was telling them something.
Right,
And they knew, but they knew at the time. See, they weren't thinking about this shit. So they did their best to conceal what was being said. They just, oh, they come from Mexico. No, tell the whole story. Tell
right,
how they met y'all twice.
right.
Uh-oh. I want to talk about that.
Because
Motherfuckers was friends already.
because that's where you have like the academia world was like, well, we don't know where the Mayans and them went. They just disappeared off the face of the earth. I remember I remember my world teacher said that in 1991. His name was Mr. Bryant, And I was like, no, Mr. Bryant. I said the people came up here, to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. He was like, huh? I said, you didn't know about that? He said, so what you trying to tell me? I said, the people just not gonna get up and just disappear. I said, there was there was a prophecy that was spoken about that was going to happen, and this is why the Yama and them left before the prophecy took place, and
Facts.
that would made the Muspa leave after the prophecy because we spoke about how the pale face in them and the Negro Europeans was gonna come and cause havoc, and they didn't want to listen. So we were like, you know what, we up out of here. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And next thing you know, look what wind up happening. And you know what movie showed you that? You know what movie showed you that, huh?
Yep.
Apocalypto. At the end of the
Yep.
movie, they show when the Europeans they was coming on them big old ships,
Them
and
big ass bellies.
they looking like, oh shit, what is that? Well, we already left way before they even came. And next thing you know, they get mad. It was like, well, why the fuck y'all left? Y'all could have stayed there. Man, look, we told y'all these people was coming with doggone fire sticks and all that there, but y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all had to find out the hard way. Y'all had to meet Cortez face to face. We already told y'all he was coming. The
Yep.
priest and them told him. The priest and them
The
told
priest
him.
told them, but
Yeah, the priest told them,
you
but they
are
didn't want to.
shit. They turned on niggas anyway. Shit. Remember they went up there and was living amongst the Aztec.
Right. But yet people say we pretending. Well, how the fuck we know this story then?
Right. Ain't in no damn book. I know
It
that
ain't
much.
no book. It
Oh,
ain't in no book.
unless you grab my book.
And that's on the real right there.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
grab that Yamasi Indian culture book if you can, because there's some good information in there too.
yeah.
You got books like Thomas Woodward, Reminiscence of the Creek Indians, The Invention of the Creek Nation, Deerskins and Duffels, freaking all type of shit, bro. I got all type of books, hundreds of books I could name. Uh, it's so much information out there that can be read. And a lot of this stuff you can put together. Like Thomas Woodward, I lied. Thomas Woodward is actually one of the first people that left Georgia and went to Texas, California, and Mexico and traveled the route the Muskogee came from, and he pinpointed exactly where they came from and proved they got cousins in Texas and California that speak the same language. So he
Mhm.
talked about that shit in the 1800s. And he was a mixed breed. He was half Muskogee, half European. He was literally from the same town my grandma from. He from Hartwell, Georgia. Excuse me.
And then they gonna be like, well, what's your sources if it's not in the book? See, that's why you gotta go sit around the fire. That's
Facts.
why you gotta go sit
Actual
around the
facts.
fire. If you ain't sit around the fire, then you ain't gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Go ask them old heads as we say, is it right? And then if they be honest about it and truthful about it. Yeah, bro, them youngsters, they telling the truth, bro. They telling the truth.
Yeah.
That's what they didn't like. They didn't like that at all. You knew the danger was coming and y'all didn't stay. Well, motherfucker, y'all chose to stay.
Facts.
Y'all chose to stay. Y'all wanted to come up in the 1500s when we already left before the 1500s. Way before the 1500s.
Way before.
Way
Y'all
before.
definitely, yeah, definitely did. Facts.
You know. But I just be laughing at people when they just say, "Oh, y'all pretending is okay." All right, you got some for that ass, and that's why I say all this other stuff that they doing, man. All thing they doing is go open up Pandora's box, and they gonna be like, "Oh, damn, these niggas really are what the fuck they say they are." Yo, yo, you know. De Soto got it in his memoirs that he came amongst the Apicola and everything and Ubaa when he was looking for the city, didn't much know he was there. You know what I'm saying? Even the memoirs when it was the looking for the fountain of youth, not knowing that the
Mm-hmm.
fountain of youth was actually our springs. They didn't even much know that.
Mm-hmm.
They was healing for after we went to battle. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much stuff, bro, that they just They just blew to it.
Facts.
You know, and how you know it was a connection where the Mayan blue came from. The Mayan blue came from Yuba, and we brought it back down south. You know what I'm saying? But they don't even much get that. You know?
Somebody somebody came on my post and was like, "Oh, the Mayans are the original people in Georgia. They like where you think they got Mayan blue from?" And I'm like, bro, y'all just ignore migration. Like y'all ignore the fact that hey, you know it's other people in all of these places before Europeans got there.
Right,
So what make you think that those people were the first one there?
right, right.
It's like I say, on in the Horn Africa, there were no tall niggas till the niggas migrated there.
Right.
So if a European pull up and say, "Oh, these niggas tall, they the Tutsi," or "These niggas tall, they this," and it's like, wait, hold on, bro, you don't even know where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my whole thing with the Nile, like with Egypt is, bro, so many cultures came into what was known as the Nile Delta and created what is known as Egypt. The shit really don't belong to nobody.
Right. They don't even much know you even had Zulus that went in there.
That's what, come on now. They
Well, as they
ancestors was
call
in
Zulu, oh yeah, the yeah.
facts. They ancestors were there. But
Mm-hmm.
not only them, there was a war that took place, which they say reunified Egypt. Think about this. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a war that took place that reunified the land. And it didn't include the older lands like Sudan or Nubia. This was some new shit. And then you see them wearing the beards and shit. They was honoring the niggas that actually conquered Egypt, the fucking
Right.
Sumerians. Nobody want to talk about how Egypt, yeah, Egypt had electromagnetism. They had light, but didn't they get the irrigation system from the Sumerians?
Hmm.
How is it that when the letters of Amarna were written and sent to Ramses, it was written in cuneiform, but he knew what the fuck was being said?
Look, you had the Samarkand. You had the Samarkand, what became known as Sumer. There, that was also a part of the Kemetic Empire.
Dagger. Sumer was a part of the Union.
Uh-huh.
Literally.
They don't know
They,
nephew. They
man,
don't know
they don't.
nephew.
Man, listen. They don't know how Ptah and Bess became friends with Enki and Enlil.
Right.
And people like, damn, or or Sar and Set is Enki and Enlil. Nah, y'all don't know how brothers work.
Right.
Niggas don't know how that dual energy work. So they see all these deities and hear all these names and throw them together, not understanding these were actual people.
And then what people them don't understand too, right? About dealing with the Maya stellar stone of the calendar, right? They don't even much know that's best in the middle of the calendar.
Facts. That's Father Best. They don't, and the thing is, right? Niggas don't know that they're, oh, we taught the Egyptians, but you don't know they daddy is on y'all calendar
Right.
and on they calendar, and
Right.
he come from
Right.
somewhere else. He don't come from Egypt, nor does he come from Mesoamerica.
Right.
Best
Right.
is the oldest male deity on the planet.
Right.
He don't come from Egypt, nor do he come from America. but he fathered both people.
Yeah. Get it by the say where the moon shine on the light of the mountain.
Hey, and this shit can be looked up.
Oh my goodness.
Best was so listen, it is crazy. When I see
And
myself, I see him.
And then guess what, nephew? In the place where he was from, they built mounds right there as well.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And my oh my. Hey, all I could say is all I can say is things tend not to age in the ice. And it's not a myth, but people tend to make it mythical because they don't know. So they gonna take what Europeans said about some shit, not knowing, bro, if you go back to a certain point, there was no water on the planet. Somebody had to bring water, something or someone had to bring water to this rock. That's what appears to be the separator is the water. These niggas don't get that.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't peeping that.
Because where they said that the egg was sitting at on the mound and the primordial waters, huh? Okay.
Sounds familiar, right?
Okay.
Sounds familiar that everybody's talking about this cosmic egg or this womb, but nobody is thinking about how they are in the womb and how someone is in the mound. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Mom's the word. Mom's the word.
Mom, hey, listen. Am I not mom's son? Am I not mom's son?
That's
you get me? Now,
that's right.
The thing about that is we can easily explain how the ancient people of that land and this land have common ancestors. This is why the people look so familiar and the cultures look so familiar. Is because this shit is way older than you believe it to be.
Right.
You comparing them on the physical level. You ain't really comparing them on the spiritual level to tie them in and say, holy shit, this shit don't even belong on the fucking planet. See what I'm saying? Bitches talking about Egypt and talking about mound building when this shit was brought to Earth. Man, I dropped too much for them people, man. Catch me in July. Come in July 25th. Catch me July 25th, 26th, 27th. I got you.
Look, why my eye is also known as the bird lady, but hey, you ain't hear from me.
Right. And here's the dagger, right? Why is Ma'at counterpart to Hootie, but she has a husband named Mom? Ma'at has a husband. And as the bird woman, right? As that which is of truth, justice, righteousness, right? And harmony. And when people say reciprocity, no. Nah, they ain't what that word say. But she has a male counterpart or a husband, right? Because in the now, what a lot of people get away from is there's equality. There's always a man, a woman, and two children. That's a complete family, right?
And then look. You know what else too? The colors, right?
Red, the white, blue, and the gold. and the gold. Oh, facts.
Why that's the same colors over here?
And watch this. Hold on, wait. What colors are the stars um
Uh-huh. When you look
that
at it,
that
yeah,
that
yeah,
rise, that planet that got the three sunrises.
yeah,
It got a
yeah.
red, a yellow, and a blue sun.
Uh-huh.
I wonder who ancestors just so happen to come from there.
Right, right.
We talking migration. Niggas is looking at it on an earthly level. This shit, a lot of this shit don't even belong here. It was
And
sent
when you
by
talk,
messengers from somewhere else.
and when you talk to the elders, they say Earth is now our home. We just passing through. And I used to hear my grandmother say that all the time.
We're just visiting. It's
We
like
just
I tell
visiting.
people all the time. Oh, Nibiru is a planet. Nah, that shit like Earth is just a big ass spaceship. That's it. We on a big ass spaceship. But why?
Mm.
That'll be explained next week. But hey, we're on a big ass spaceship, right? And this is not our spaceship. And we will return back to ours. But that which you can't see, which people call ether, is its own thing. That's not outside of anything. You get what I'm saying? So when
What,
we
what,
return, we just ain't gonna have no physical body, but the 99 ethers or that energy that form the non-physical, we know how this go. We still gonna be active. I don't know about that though.
hey, that's why they say star people, huh?
So
Oh, they can play with us, they
yep.
can play with us if they like, but it ain't gonna be good on the end.
It really ain't though, because it's so much like we just touch on the history. We get into shit like this, it actually become what we like, the actual cipher. This way,
Right.
and again, when people when they get the information or they see this shit that excites them, it's like the shit like high school is like rumors. They will hit as kids, they'll hear some shit and they running to go tell it now. This is
Mhm.
the same thing they do with the information on the internet. They hear it, they want to run and go tell it, and they did no true investigation. Like you
Mhm.
say, you have to investigate before you
Before you
propagate.
propagate. That's right.
But what this shows too is even as adults, you can see that many people have not really changed because there's so much information out here. All you have to do is just take your time and decipher what's right and what's wrong.
It is
But
like you
you
said, nephew, like you said, they always talk about the giants, but they'll never talk about the little people that was here before the giants.
and you know why? There's no investigation.
And
There's
then
no investigation.
you know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? I remember I asked this question to a minister. I was 9 years of age. I say, if we made in the image and likeness of God, having 5 fingers and 5 toes, who the fuck? Well, I didn't say who the fuck. I say, well, who in the image that the people that got 6 fingers and 6 toes and 7 fingers and 7 toes in the image of? He looked at me like I was crazy. I'm 9 years old asking this question. If we got 5 fingers, then we're the people that got 6 fingers and 6 toes and 7 fingers and 7 toes and sometimes 8. Where did
Or
these
what
people come from?
or the beings in the Bible that got claws and
Right.
webbed feet and eyes
Yeah.
on their wings.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. But everybody just looking at that book, just they telling you what happened.
mm-hmm.
They
Right.
tell you. Oh, and I remember I asked the minister this. I said, "Well, if God is a spirit, why he got to put man to sleep to do surgery, to do cloning?" And he's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "That's what he did because don't they put people to sleep for surgery today? And now ain't they getting the clone things now?" I say whatever's being done in the Bible is being done now. So the Bible like almost being obsolete.
Let me see this.
Oh,
Hold up.
Kitty said, so what ancestors would be for those with six fingers? You not only had beings that had six fingers, some of them have seven and some of them have eight. They actually have the petroglyphs in rocks in caves where they show you beings that got eight fingers and seven fingers and six.
I know a lot of people want me to say the Cherokee. So yeah, a lot of us descend from those six-fingered beings, or a lot of y'all would descend from those six-fingered beings if it's in your blood. Some say that five is degenerate, but that's usually what's pushed on us little people when we know it's not. People just come in different forms. So as
Right,
Pa said, you have those who come in different forms, they have different or descendants that exist today. So like you go to the west or to the Pueblos in the west, you will see some of them had three fingers. And you will see
right.
that some in the north may have had six fingers. And of course, a lot of them still exist today. But as we spoke about last year, they were mostly killed off.
And then some of them was actually put in the circus to be called genetic freaks. you know,
And some, yeah, and some returned to the caves where they
right,
still at today.
right.
Some still in the jungles, especially
Because
out there in the pine lands. That shit get serious in the pine lands.
because it's a tribal story that says that when we had a catastrophic event on the earth, we went into the caves. You know what I'm saying? And
Facts.
and this was way before the white boy talked about earth, the hollow earth. We already knew about that already. You know,
Yeah. But for those who are listening, those mound builders that had the six fingers, their descendants are also known as Melungeon, because of many of them had pale skin. And this was a point I was making, is there are a
right?
lot of people online saying they're mound builders and six fingers and all of this, but they never said, hey, you know those people had pale skin.
hmm This where we was talking about before, nephew. We say that all the tribal people wasn't all dark skin. You even had some that was white with stringy hair.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that yesterday. I think it was yesterday I posted on that and asked that question.
Oh,
Because you see that, oh, the copper tone is like, but everybody not copper tone. And then the
right,
person who said they were copper tone said it in their language. So it wasn't none of us.
right.
Hint, hint. But you could go to any family and you'll find you could get 10 people out of a family, and it's gonna be between 4 to 5 different shades in between them. They all might even be a different shade.
right.
So saying, well, the nah, you can't do it like that. You can't even say the same thing with phenotype. People
hmm
existed all over the world in different forms. That has to be acknowledged, but it's still on some lookology shit.
And that's where the DNA and them messed up at because they don't tell you exactly where your people is from because people was migrating.
Facts, actual facts. They just tell you where you got relatives at.
Right. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. Boy, this the prelude to the 25th and the 26th. I like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy those days. I ain't gonna lie.
But I can't wait to pull it up on the live stream. Look, shoot.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready. I'm definitely
But you
ready.
but you know they listening, and watching us, nephew.
You know
You
that
know,
museum. You know that museum's still not open, right?
wow.
Yeah, it's
It's
all
like
good.
when I said Stone Mountain
Uh,
was one of our holy sites and everything. Somebody with it took a pilgrimage there with a whole lot of people, but he didn't know the ceremonies that was done there though. So they
say
watching.
that.
I said, I remember when I said on one of the podcasts that Stone Mountain was one of our holy sites. You know what I'm saying? And now you
I
got
remember that.
people there migrating there, but they don't know what to do on the mountain.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I say, I respect it. Because I like the unity, and
Yeah,
I just gotta put it. I'm more of a get your family together, even if it's two, three people. Because
right.
seeing 1,000 individuals together, cool. But when your family involved, that make
That's even
everything
better.
sweeter. Yeah, it just
Right,
make everything sweeter. So
right,
and for them, it's just time for them to get their shit together on the tribal side for real, so they
right.
can know what to do. Because if you have a pool where you can pull this many people together, you need to use that same energy to help them get their families together, so that movement can literally become a tribal force. It's ways that people can do this. They just gotta stop playing.
Right,
Put the money where the work's supposed to be, not where your mouth is.
right.
Because when things like that happen, it's major, but it's a lot of individuality going on. People think that shit cute. You around all these people talking Indian.
Boy, this is a beautiful
Hold
thing.
on, am I back? Wait.
This is a beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know. So what's going on, nephew G Puma? What's popping with you, baby? Tell nephew come back on.
My bad, I got a call.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions in the comments? Because Kitty Fire asked the question. That was a beautiful thing.
Nah, in fact,
Nephew,
she came back with two sharp ones too.
right, right, right. And then nephew said, my dad family still has 6 fingers. Uh-huh. It's only passed down by the woman though. Yep, yep. I remember one of my cousins, they had when it was born, they put a string around that 6 finger.
Yeah, so that bitch could fall off.
Uh-huh.
Some of them still got fucking six functional fingers.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. So we didn't get no questions. Paul, let me get outside and finish cutting this grass, man. Cause
All
when
right.
you have somebody else do it and they just want to do half, that shit weird. That shit fucked the day up. Like, why even? You feel me? But
Yeah.
I'll get back with y'all. I'll be on next week setting the stage for the week after. Yeah, everything locked in. It's mostly actually at the families now. Um, Outside of cuz, cause he got an actual reason that he ain't coming. We have a few people who was in the class that'll be coming, them and they friends and family, things like that.
Hmm.
But many outside of Sean, cuz coming too. But there's a lot of people who fell off when they noticed they ass not going through any ceremonies, and our numbers went from a lot to a little bit, which was our regular, and that
Mm-hmm.
shit was amazing. Cause it showed me like, bro, you have to keep your shit tight, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure it stay that way, and make sure people understand what's going on. Because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people like they like, oh, this instant. You feel me? Like basically on some instant gratification shit, or like being microwaved as a mason or some shit, or being like what they call it in game, what they call that shit in game, being like when they walk you on type shit, like blessed in, like you got blessed in, like bro, this is not like bro, what the fuck? So outside of that, everything going great. Salute y'all. Thank y'all for watching this video and tuning in and sitting with me for an hour and 30. I'm aggravated. I don't know how y'all do it, but I
And
love y'all for it.
don't forget like and share, and go get the blue fire and the green fire if you ain't got it.
And hit that notification bell so I don't have to send you messages about me going live. When I do go live, it'll just notify you. I'll see y'all later, man. Peace.
All right, what?